Dropped
All right,
in.
so this is our episode 4. Nothing cute to go with it because we couldn't think of anything for episode 4. I couldn't. 4-leaf clovers. I mean, if it was in March, maybe talk about some Irish stuff. But so no.
Who cares?
But what?
Who cares? Who cares?
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you.
Wow.
So we're going to do the usual, a little update about our comic. So we're going to talk about another one of our characters. Then we're going to kind of talk about music because still music does have something to do with our comic as well. And we both love music and it's,
I'm feeding back in your speaker there. You may need headphones.
Hear you. Huh?
I'm feeding back in your speaker.
You can hear you twice when you talk to me?
No.
You can hear me twice?
Yes, I can hear me twice. It's coming back. It's feeding back. It's not right.
Badly?
It's like repeating back. It's not good.
So you said I need headphones?
It makes me talk like I'm like this all the time because it comes back at me.
Can we cut that? We'll get canceled.
No. So, anyway, glad you all could join us. I hope people are joining us in the chat. Hey. All right. We have James in the show. Hello, James. Nice of you to meet or, come to the video with us and watch the live stream. Nice of you to join us. Kevin had some technical difficulties as well. So he's going to be on in just a second. So, in the meantime, we might as well just go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to share a character of ours from Ballad of the Celestials, and we just always like to have an update, get people, interested in the story and the characters. And
am I uncle now?
Yeah, why you're interrupting like right midstream here. Here you go. Just jumping in. Anyway, we're going to introduce our character, Chiru, and make sure that everybody is able to hear and see and just know what these characters are all about.
Am I speaking too loud?
Oh my gosh. Every sentence that I say, you interrupt me. Woo. That's the third time you've done that.
It's called Murph and
We're going to duke it out right here on the video. I'm going to reach right through and give you a sock right through. Actually, it'd be this way. Pow.
No one says sock
Okay,
anymore.
so the third time I'm going to try to say it. Chiru is the character we're going to introduce. And so I'm going to show you a clip of what he looks like in our comic book. This is what he looks like. Chiru's falling in the ground here. He's falling on the ledge, off the ledge, actually. And
he's not falling in the ground.
He's falling off a ledge is what I said.
I don't like the headphones.
Okay. You're in an argumentative mood tonight. I can tell this is going to be a fun stream.
I'm positive.
I don't think so. You interrupted me 3 times and corrected me for no good reason.
That's why the show's called Duke It Out.
It's going to be a big Duke fest. I'm telling you. Blood. There's going to be guts. I'm going to string it all over the place. Okay.
Too many jokes.
So you want to talk about Chiru a little bit and introduce the actual character?
Sure. So for our first book, he's kind of like I'd say about third main character-ish of the story. He does a lot in this. He's kind of the heart and soul of the team. He's very positive. He's the youngest on the team, but he can still hold his own. You won't see a lot of this, but you'll see it in other comics that, he's, even though he's small, he's not a wimp. He knows how to handle himself, and he's super fast. So there's a lot of things he does on the team that no one else can do. And he's smart too. He knows how to cook. He knows how to actually heal people if they get hurt. And so again, we're making up all the ethnicities and cultures, but I would say if you're going to think of anything, think of him like being an Indian from India, not Native American. Derek, do you want to say what you always say or not on video?
No, not on video. Here's another shot of Chiru.
Yeah.
This is, Chiru's kind of a timid character, and he's still young, so he doesn't have a lot of worldly experience, I'd probably say.
Not a lot of even war experience or battles, very. But he's learned a lot from the rest.
Right. He gets mixed up with this group of guys, and he, they take him all over, and he's thrown in the mix of everything. And so he's learning and growing and getting older, and I guess you could say getting experience as he goes along. In battle, he gets in the midst of the battles too, so he gets to see some action in the comic book.
And again, saying like he's the heart, he's like everyone's little brother. Like they really do love him. Whenever there's something, they're worried about him more than anyone else. So they do want to take care of him, but also being a little brother, they all kind of pick on him. But he kind of, like Derek said, socks right back because with those socks.
You need punched. You just need punched. That is exactly what needs to happen.
That is true. That is true. You get punched in the face and it changes everything.
Yeah, it does. You bloody someone's nose and they're just done with you. They're like, okay, I'm out. I tap.
It's good though this is documented, so when I sue you and go to court, I win.
I doubt it. I think the people on this chat, even James included, he probably would be like, yep.
Press a like if you want Kevin to get punched in the face. That'll get likes a lot.
I think it'd be a great time. So I don't know about you.
Well, we have more viewers if we do a thing like, hey, you want to give us $100?
That's right.
I'll just walk on the street with my camera and be like, hey, dude, you want to punch me? So with Chiru, we haven't developed him a lot otherwise as being a warrior yet, because he's just getting in the mix. He's not somebody that takes charge of a battle. He's kind of a follower. Definitely in some of the panels, he's following behind, but then he does help out. He gets in the mix, like I said, but he's not a go at him, like let me at him right now kind of character yet. He definitely sits back and then does what he's told, because he knows that they will protect him and they're his friends, so he will protect who his friends are. And not only that, he see them. He knows how badass the rest of them are. Like,
yeah, that's right, badass. Okay, so is that enough for Chiru, or do you want to show some more?
You can go back to that picture where you see him almost falling in, because we don't want to show much, but he was really cocky before this situation. So he's the heart of the group. He's kind of heart of the book too. Like, you'll get a lot of laughter from him. I think everyone will really like him. He's one of those characters that everybody likes. And so he's our book. There's a lot of action in our first book because of the story and what we're doing. So you don't get a lot of downtime, but with that, he's still there. He's still positive while the rest of them worry or know they have to do something, because he's that little brother, he never has to worry. So he can always have the positivity, the jokes, except for in this situation, real quick, he stops fooling around and starts communicating with the rest of them for some help. So.
Yeah, he's in. Oh, there goes my glasses, and I can barely see now. He goes in. He's always in danger. They kind of use him as bait, I guess you could say.
He's the first person you see in the comic. You see him before everyone else.
Yeah. Well, now you gave the surprise away.
No, I didn't. They don't know what's going on.
Okay. Well,
we gave them nothing.
Okay, well, yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to the next part.
Do you know how to push the buttons now? Like, are you completely blind?
No, I know how.
How many fingers am I
Everything's just
holding
blurry.
up? How many fingers?
None, because it was off camera.
We got to keep it children, so I thought about doing something else, but then I
no. You're gonna get us. We won't even get monetized.
And we need all the help we can get right now.
Oh man, I hope. Anyway. Okay, so moving on. Next segment. What do you want to talk about?
So we wanted to talk about music, kind of things we like, but also because again, I say it's a lot like, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. You got it a little bit. The Witcher that just came out, you got in that where they had songs where the toss your coin to a Witcher was like a really big thing. Is with a book you'll have narration, but also leading into it, and then not in the first book, but other scenes, is music will be a big part of our book. Kind of like if you watch the Lord of the Rings movies, even the extended editions, there's a lot of times where they're singing, drinking and having singing songs. So music will be a part of our book. And so that's it. I think that is Lord of the Rings-ish. There's that, there's a bunch of, there's those songs, there's war songs, there's happy songs, drinking songs, all that. And so that's, with our book, there'll be a song right in the beginning, kind of as a precursor of what's going on. And then down the road, we'll continue to use music. And, every culture has music. Everybody sings, everybody. So I think that's an important thing to have. And I think a lot of comics and stories don't have that, honestly, when you think about it.
Oh, yeah. There's always I consider music like a third dimension of like a book or a story, a comic book, because you got the visual and you have the writing, but you don't have anything to set moods or anything. So I think it's cool if you can think of some songs to go along with it. And, it is few and far between that you might find something like that. So.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that way. Or a show might have like an opening song, like Game of Thrones had that.
Oh, that was a great theme song, yeah.
But I don't think they sang many songs in the show. Like cultures would have a song, or
yeah. I mean, they had music in the background and stuff, but yeah, The Witcher did a great job.
Oh, that song was great with whatever the guy was called. I can't think of his name. He was
a bard, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, that song was great.
Right. And that's what I liked about Lord of the Rings too, is that the songs that they had and that they did sing were very well done. They were very well thought out. Even if you criticize the material and say, well, they didn't follow the book or they added too much, because I've heard a lot of those criticisms, the music they put in that song or in those movies were just top notch. Incredible.
I think one of the best points in all three combined is when Mary's singing the song to the king that's eating while he sends out his men to basically die.
Oh yeah.
And you're watching him eat, and like the blood, like it's grapes, but it looks like blood as he's singing that song.
Yeah.
You're not hearing like any action or anything, just him singing with a little bit of music behind. Yeah. And he sent out his son and them to basically die for nothing. Like just go out and defend something you couldn't. And that's great. Great.
Yeah, he was just feasting for nothing. Yeah, so the mood and the atmosphere and
that song did everything.
Yeah, and then when he sang before they go out in battle, that was pretty amazing too, because it set forth that mood again.
Who sang before battle?
Well, I thought Mary sang before a battle, or he sang right before they left the Mordor. Like, I think he sang out. It was just a song that he was singing in the nighttime. You don't remember that in the nighttime? And Gandalf was probably the only one listening, I think. But he sang, and it was very somber. It was the calm before the storm, basically.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean now that you're talking about it.
Yeah, and then right after that, Mordor opens up, and they all march out. And it's, then all hell breaks loose. So very well done.
And then so we could talk about music regularly. Remember I showed you that YouTube video with showing you music sales? Are you able to play that so people can see it, or no? I think it's amazing.
I don't know if I can play it. I don't know if I can call it up. I'm not real sure how to get that to happen.
It's really nice because how they do the bars and you see everything moving in real time when it comes to sales. And there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't believe that Elvis was beating the Beatles for a long time. And I'm like, I know Elvis was huge, but I didn't think he could beat the Beatles.
I would think that probably ebbs and flows at times.
It was, and then you had Led Zeppelin came up and they were all fighting. But then you got to the 80s and it was Michael Jackson and he like doubled everybody. He like slaughtered during the 80s.
Yep.
Like no one was close.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he got the name King
crazy.
of Pop for that reason. You know what I mean?
Whew.
And he did. I mean, and he earned every bit of it, too. It wasn't like it was unearned.
Well,
I think some of the stuff you see now is not as earned. There's so many platforms for music to come out on. It's so much easier for big names to get out there. But like, people back then had to actually do the work.
Well, did they have to sign with someone to get on the radio, though?
Yeah, but man, I'm telling you, if Michael Jackson wouldn't have been good, nobody would have kept listening to him. You know? His catalog is just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. And people love it.
Because even as a kid, there wasn't a gimmick, the Jackson 5. Like, they were all talented. It was very good.
Oh, they were amazing. And but then when he came out right at the end of the disco era.
Oh, I love that song. His disco song. Oh, it's such a great song.
But then he, and then he hit, what was it? Against the Wall or something like that. I forget. That was one of his breakout albums. Anyway, he had amazing songs that just were great. And you couldn't help but like the beat, like what he did in them, and then he just kept doing it album after album.
What's interesting with the bars, because like him and Elton John were coming up the same time, and then he just like smoked even Elton John. So it's interesting seeing other people, and you really see, because Elton John was huge. Like,
well, Elton John's a genius. Elton John's a genius. He's a musical genius. You're talking about people that are amazing, and he still beat them. So
Queen, and it's interesting.
Yeah. I don't see that in the music now, though. I see that, like,
because you're old.
When they say Beyonce's big like that, I'm like, why? I get she's had some hit songs, but she hasn't put the work in Michael Jackson. If I compared her to Michael Jackson, has she put the work in that Michael Jackson has worked? I don't think so.
I know a lot of people like her, but I don't know. I think it's less about her music and more like the fandom.
I'm not talking about her talent. I do think she's talented.
Oh yeah, she's got a great voice.
I do think that she can be, really cool. I actually think Single Ladies is a hell of a song. I don't like to sing it or play it, but as far as a pop song goes, it's a great pop song.
That song was ruined by SNL with Justin Timberlake and all of them dancing behind her with the
But if you look at it, it's actually it's a great hook. It's got a great feel to it.
The OOOs?
It makes you want to dance. Like, it's got this great feel that I understand why that's a big song. But I don't see her putting in all the work that Michael Jackson put in. He not only put in the work musically,
he put it in
live. Like, he set the bar. You were trying to match him and his sister Janet. Those are the people you were trying to match, You're
good when you make a dance move's name the wrong name. That the moonwalk, that's not the moonwalk, but it was changed because of what he did. That slide was not actually called the moonwalk. It was called something else. Something weird, like slide stairs or something like that. And like the moonwalk, you're actually supposed to be going forward doing something.
Oh, yeah.
But because he did it, and then I don't know if someone said it when he did it, but it became the moonwalk. And it was named wrong, but he's that popular that he could change the name of something.
It's iconic. And it's synonymous with him. And, Cab Calloway back in the day, during the big band jazz era. Cab Calloway was saying, "Hidey, hidey, hidey, hi, hody, 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 ho." He did Minnie the Moocher. He did, Mac the Knife. He made those things pretty popular. Those songs.
You got to sing these for the chat so they understand what you're talking about. Can't just put out names of songs.
Well, when he did that,
start singing.
Let me talk now. He actually is one of the guys that
Murph Dirk
made the chain wallet. Thank you for interrupting again. He made the chain wallet. So he was one of the first guys to do that. And that's kind of a thing he had. If you look at him, he has like a pocket watch. He's got the chains hanging down.
It wasn't Rick
and that
James?
was clear back. Huh?
It wasn't Rick James?
No. You would think so because you were born in 81. And for some reason, when you're born in 81, you forget the rest of the world happened before you were born.
I was born in 83, and I'm thinking about the Chappelle Show with Charlie Murphy. And
anytime anybody was born in the 80s, they think nothing happened before 1980.
Well, nothing important.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Who's that? I don't know who that was.
You put out... There's a lot of people that don't know musicians' names. Like, that's not
bull crap. Not like you. I can say all kinds of stuff, and you're just like, huh? I don't know that song. Like, you don't know Mac the Knife. You've never heard Mac the Knife? No?
Tell us. You can't expect people to know stuff.
So they did it on I think it was even on a Burger King commercial, Kevin. They've had this stuff on stuff very not in your lifetime is what
I wish you could look this up because I want to see the Burger King commercial with him in it. Because there's no way there's a Burger King.
We'll look it up afterward. We're not going to do it on the stream, but there are things that are modern that you can look up.
I'm Googling it on my phone.
Look up Minnie the Moocher. He was a great singer. Cab Calloway was one of the best frontmen.
You think everyone's going to know who you're talking about?
Cab Calloway was in. He was in the Blues Brothers. So yeah, he's been around, man. Yeah, people will know who I'm talking about. Great performer. Anyway, I would say. It's really interesting to see after Elvis shot up and then the Beatles and then who came up after that? Michael Jackson?
Led Zeppelin was after the Beatles. That kind of went to the number one.
Who shot up after all that?
So if I'm remembering it right, so it's Elvis and Beatles, then Zeppelin comes. Because Elton's coming up with Michael, and Prince is there too. But I think Michael overtakes Led Zeppelin or the Beatles. The Beatles and Zeppelin might have fought. And then it's Michael. And then I forget after the 90s because I was so blown away by how, because usually you're seeing these charts and they're so close to each other. And then he literally goes to the full screen and you can barely see Elton John, Prince, Queen, Aerosmith. And it's like, man, these are huge names and they're just AC/DC and it's Michael's just.
Yeah.
Would have never thought that. Would have never thought
whenever
that he was that big.
Well, if you see him go to other countries, like footage of him in other countries.
Yeah, the concerts.
He's getting mobbed, man. Just chased in the streets and it's crazy. And then he has videos of him running with kids and stuff, just mobs of kids. And I'm going, it's incredible when you think about it. And that was before any weird shit happened, but still, you say kids and everybody goes there, but before that, it's think about how popular he was. I remember being in elementary school when his hair caught on fire. And in the Pepsi commercial. Do you remember that?
I remember his hair going on, but I don't know how you could be in elementary school at that time.
Yeah. I was in elementary school when that happened. That was 80, what?
I thought that was 90 just because he was White Michael then, right? When he burnt his hair, wasn't he?
Nope. That was 80s. That was mid 80s. It was 84, 85, somewhere in there.
Really? Okay.
He was doing a Pepsi commercial. And when he walks down the steps, it the light or something catches his hair on fire.
Well, his hair's all oiled up.
Mm-hmm. He had that Jerry curl, man. I mean, soul glow. So, see, Kaylin even says it's the 80s.
Set the hair on fire. But how were you in the elementary school if you were born in the 60s? That's what I'm confused about.
60s. Shut up. I'm a 70s kid. The best musical era of all time. 70s are, it's hard to, it's
I was going to say,
argue.
if it's not the best, it's in the top 3 easily.
Yeah, well, it's between the 80s and the 70s being like the best era of all time, I think. Those are two great decades. And they're almost, they're pretty dead even. I mean, there's a lot in them, and there's a lot of change.
I've only heard of like 3 or 4 of the Jackson 5. Were they
some of that
big
60s
or no? Okay, I was going to say.
Well, was it 60s? No, it was
70s.
I'm sorry, it was 70s.
Were they?
Kaylin. Thanks for that, Kaylin.
What did we say that's Caucasians?
Everything we're doing. Everything.
Talking about music that we're Caucasians?
Probably.
That doesn't make sense. She's Caucasian. What's she talking about?
Yeah, she is. You know, SJWs and all. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, she's probably close to an SJW.
Oh, really? You think?
She's probably going to take offense to that.
Well, she's saying we're Caucasian guys, so I mean, I'm going to play.
I mean, we are Caucasian guys. I can't refute that.
Really mean, yeah, but she's throwing it like it's derogatory, so I'm going to put out there.
Yeah, the OMG.
Just have some fun. Anyway, 70s is my favorite. Whether it's better than the 80s, that's debatable. But I love the 70s. You had so many changes in music and variety.
Well, Fleetwood Mac is in my top 5. I love Fleetwood Mac, so.
Okay.
I really do love them.
You know, and they were actually out in the 60s, like late 60s. But they
in the 70s,
that iteration of the band changed. They had popular songs in the 70s and up through, but they actually started in the late 60s.
I mean, they do have a lot of CDs, so they were probably because she broke off because she was still doing her thing in the 80s, right? That's when she did her own stuff.
She went solo at that point, yeah.
Which I don't like her stuff by herself that much. There's only a couple songs that I like.
Everybody thought it was going to be fantastic because she was in, you know, Fleetwood Mac.
It's funny, though, to bring it back to Beyonce that they took her one song, the Ooh, Baby Ooh song. They took the riff and put it in their Jelly song. I don't think you're ready for this, Jelly.
What?
You could try some of that product. Oh, the Jerry Curls product. Then just put it in the beards.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not Jerry curling my beard. It'd be all dripping down the front of my shirt. I don't want none of that.
I have beard oil, but with the mask, I don't put it on because the mask makes
put it on.
I take the mask off and my hair's like this, so it's not even. There's no purpose of.
I carry a comb. No, I don't do that. I take the mask off. I just make sure it's combed down, and I'm good to go.
You should see mine at work. It's just nuts. It's all out, and just like it's literally like this. It's like
it gets a wave where the mask goes around my chin, and then I get this weird wave. So I hate that. But anyway, for me, for music, coming out of the 60s into the 70s, you had, of course, classic rock, which probably one of the best eras of rock for me. The start of metal, punk comes out at that time. Funk comes out at that, like you have the start of funk with James Brown, but it really takes shape in the 70s. You get disco pushing funk plus the dance thing going on. Rap even has like some early starts in the late 70s, but it wasn't really known as rap at that point. You know what I mean?
What were they calling it?
I mean, really, it was like they were doing like underground MCing. It was just MCs.
Oh, okay.
And so they would go spin records and stuff and like scratch them. And then finally it caught on, but that was like late 70s. And then once I think like 80 or 81 hit, then it was considered rap.
Was it because of disco? Because disco is like almost this ultra, like it's good music, but it's a very extreme to where that kind of came from that way then? Because they're like, I hate disco. So like people were big into jazz and hated disco. Is that kind of how the MCing started, or am I just making it up? I'm asking. You'd know more than I would.
Well,
did it come out of that? Because disco when it was there, it took everything.
Disco came out of like, I mean, it really had some funk roots.
Oh, the Bee Gees were huge too. That was another thing. They got into like the top 5.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were that big.
Well, you know, like dancing was a big deal. Dancing was big up until maybe the 90s. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people loved to dance. Now it's not such a thing anymore. A lot of kids don't dance like they used to. If you watch, a lot of kids don't do it.
Our middle school, we would have dances on Fridays. And what would happen is all the girls would do a specific dance to different songs, like the Electric Slide or the Macarena. And so the 90s had this weird like group cheerleader type of dances for songs rather than like guys and girls dancing together.
Yeah. Well, and like Kaylin says, it come about more due to the social climate. I mean, people were looking for some positive things, like Vietnam was going around that time, and they were looking for some outlets, of course. It was the end of the hippie era.
She's got to make her messages. Is she talking about disco? Is she talking about MCing?
I think she's talking about disco, because if you look at it, it's due to the social climate. Think about the social climate of the 60s. You're coming out of the Martin Luther King, you know, you've got so much going on.
Yeah, that's true.
With social stuff, but the war too drove that. So it wasn't just social justice. It was the war driving it as much. And then the hippies in response to it. But then the hippie movement, like, I think...
Because I don't think the hippies enjoyed disco, right? Weren't they more soft rock or more like heavy rock, the hippies?
Oh, they weren't into they were acid rock. They were into, I mean, it's a lot of
weren't they into the Dead Bears? Who are the Dead Bears? I can never remember their name.
Grateful Dead, not Dead Bears. Anyway.
Come on, is the Grateful Dead even that good?
They're pretty good.
Are they?
They're great musicians. Oh yeah, I mean, your dad brings up a great one.
The Eagles were actually number 1 after Led Zeppelin, and Michael Jackson took over the Eagles. That's who I just forgot. My dad loves the Eagles.
Because of course the Eagles were, because they're great, and I'm going to like your dad a lot because we have great taste in music, obviously. Progressive rock, Yes comes out, and you have Yes started in the late 60s as well, but then they got more popular in the 70s. And then with bands like Led Zeppelin coming out, progressive rock really took off. Like Rush really took off out of that. And then you had some other bands that took off from that point too. But Queen. Much came out of the 70s. It's so ridiculous.
Queen's progressive, right? They're not classic.
They're probably hitting. What's funny? That's what's funny about titles is so many bands could be fitting into so many different styles. But
well, I mean, Queen's kind of their own thing, like Bohemian Rhapsody.
I would call them more progressive pop rock because they're not full on, anything.
I mean, Ride My Bicycle, like.
Well, but they were more operatic. They also had, if you think about the way he sings, it's very Broadway, and almost everything he does.
Good point.
It could fit right on Broadway. So
why hasn't someone done that?
Greatest rock,
Why isn't there a Queen? Now that you say that, why isn't there a Queen Broadway thing? That'd be great.
It would make sense, wouldn't it? I mean, you've already got everything laid out for you. Probably because people can't sing it, but I mean, they'd have.
There's definitely people who could do. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, even because their songs are so different. You could really write stories around their song. I mean, the group people might have it and the groups never wanted to do that too. So it could be that.
Yeah,
I doubt it. I doubt people haven't had that idea. Like people,
I'm sure they have.
Like,
it's probably, they're probably wondering what to do with it. Like, how do you tie it all together into one story? You know what I mean? Like, the Who had.
Well, you could have him writing he's writing his bicycle.
Wizard, and they did a rock opera with it. And when they did the rock opera, they were actually able to take that onto Broadway and it actually translated because the story was there.
Was it like Spinal Tap and their drummer kept dying?
No, no, it was actually well done, and it's been well done, but it just, you have to be into it. I'm not into that kind of stuff. It's not my favorite Who material at all. So.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, but the 70s, so,
Eagles, you said to talk about the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles brought in country.
I would have never thought they beat, because the three, like Led Zeppelin, Beatles, and Elvis, are like fighting, and then the Eagles just swore over them.
Well,
and I was really surprised by that.
Man, that's what I was telling you. Their hit songs. Gosh, to me, the Eagles are part of the Songbook of America. Like when I think of growing up in the summertime, we listened to that. I mean, that was always
not more than Creedence Clearwater, though, right?
I mean, right along with it. And to me, that was all part of the same thing. Like it was all, it was all part of my childhood. All those bands. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, your dad's right. It wasn't Pinball Wizard. It was Tommy. Pinball Wizard's a song from Tommy. So I'll correct
Tommy. Tommy's the play
Tommy's
or Broadway or
Tommy is the rock opera that they wrote.
Man.
So I messed that up.
I wonder if it's good. Like, did it get good? Like, did people like it, or is it not?
It's an old movie now, so it's very dated, and it's not that good.
It wasn't like on Broadway. It's actually a movie.
It was a movie, and then they've put it on Broadway since. So it's been both.
But it's not good. It's not worth your time.
You can give it a listen. If you enjoy it, go ahead and give it a listen and see if you like it. And you might. There's songs on there. Like I like Pinball Wizard, that's a great song.
Why couldn't Queen have a Broadway show with their titles? First of all, Wayne's World kind of did it anyways.
Well, now that Bohemian Rhapsody came out, they very well could.
They should.
Somebody has to write that, Queen definitely has challenging music for it.
Especially because you have all those actors that did it too. Like you could do you'd have to get the family's permission, but you can almost make it like a funny type of, a story going with a lot of their songs.
Right.
Like,
so in the 70s, punk came along, but what a lot of people don't talk about is metal also formed around the same time punk did. And a lot of punk bands hated metal, and a lot of metal bands hated punk. Yeah. But what was so funny was when you listened to them, they were very similar. So it's really stupid the way that it lists. Like if you listen to early Iron Maiden, they were right at that punk era. So the very late 70s, and they sounded just like a punk band, very similar to it. But they will never tell you that. They'll say, no, we were definitely heavy metal. We are, it's metal all the way. You know what I mean? Like it's so funny to hear them talk. But yeah, I mean, and all that came out of like Led Zeppelin and the late 60s, Woodstock, once all that happened, man.
You imagine going to Woodstock? That had to be an experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. I mean, sheesh. I couldn't imagine living during that time. It would have been awesome. But, I still feel like we lived in a great era. Like the 90s for me was a great era. It was one of the last great musical eras. I don't think we've had a great musical era since the 90s.
Why do you hate Limp Bizkit?
Oh, gosh, really? Do I have to explain that?
I like the late 90s, though. I think there was a lot of good stuff late 90s.
But hold on. Like, I actually believe
after
the grunge era. To me, the grunge era was the last great musical era.
Well, I like new metal. I know you don't like new metal, but I enjoy new metal.
Because I know that new metal is it's a manufactured sound. I know it's manufactured, and I've heard the producers, and I've seen videos talking about it. It's definitely manufactured.
I don't think every group was manufactured. I mean,
but a lot of it was, and that's what it was all about. It was about turning out a grid.
You thought Korn was like that. Then you saw that Korn YouTube of the guy going into just on their one song, how many different things of music was in there, and they're like,
sure,
they're not processed.
There's good musicianship across the board, but overall, the music is very watered down and very formulaic, to the point where the record companies know exactly what's going to happen with their music. And that's on purpose. It's a manufactured band. It's a manufactured era of music. Whereas,
but if it was really that bad, how has it stayed so long? It stayed for 20 years. It's still going. Are you kidding me?
Pop music. Look how manufactured pop has been since the 80s. Pop got manufactured in the 80s.
Well, in the 90s, they were all about it.
Oh, but it was in the 80s. It happened 40 years ago, and they've left it that way. It's only
Madonna wasn't manufactured
as we got along.
Was Madonna produced?
Oh yeah, I mean, sure. So your dad says, singer. What do you consider Jethro Tull? So I would consider Jethro Tull progressive rock for sure. I think they had some progressive pieces to them. They didn't. I don't think they stuck to the 3 to 4 minute format.
Which I don't like that
back then. Yeah,
I don't like that for anything. I hate that. It's like I think a song's better the longer it is. Yeah, I honestly do. I can't think of a song that's over 5 minutes that I was never like. I think you have to be better to make a song that long. You know what I mean? To keep it interesting.
Well, if it's interesting, there's a lot of songs like when I think of Inagata Devita, that's a long song, man. Have you ever listened to that song? Inagata Devita.
Yeah, it's a great song. How long is the song?
To me, it's a long song, but it's too
long.
Is
there a radio edit where you don't hear it that long?
There might be a radio edit. Long. Yeah, I think there's a radio edit, but I think when you listen to the real thing, it's long. But
now I want to listen to the whole thing.
A lot of people back in that era liked it, but whenever I go back and listen to it, there's a lot of repeating parts. And to me, I'm just going, okay, did this song have to be that long? It's a musical taste thing. Some people may be like, oh, I love that. Don't cut on that song. I might be offending your dad right now, but I hope I'm not. But, it's one of those things, whereas Rush could do an 8-minute song, and everything they're doing, they're taking you on a roller coaster ride completely through, and there's no lulls in the song. There's no bored parts. You know what I mean? Where you're
they just don't do that. None of their songs have that. Yeah, they don't.
No, they're emotional, and they're definitely an organic song too. They don't manufacture what they're going to do. They play what they want to play, and that's what I want. I mean, that's why I like the grunge era. They were definitely grunge era came out of garage bands, man. You could tell those guys started in the garage and they jammed.
Do they know why it was in Seattle? Every one of them was from Seattle.
Well, there's been places like Austin is a hot pocket, So when you find those places, they're looking for places where they can sign multiple bands. So that's why. It wasn't just that Seattle was the only place they could find bands, but there was a scene there. And not only was there a scene,
they're still different. Their sound, but they're still different. That's what I say.
There was a sound, and then there was also culture to go along with it. And that whole rebellious, man, I love the 90s. That's what I loved about it. And the end of the hair bands. So that's what people don't think about was Guns N' Roses was one of the last true rock and roll bands. But and some people consider them hair bands, but I don't consider them a hair band. I consider hair bands Poison, Warrant.
Yeah, I never considered Guns N' Roses hair band.
Yeah, hair bands.
Yeah, I don't consider Slash. Slash is not in a hair. No, Slash is.
No, those guys were rock and rollers, man. They were heavy rock.
They're
but they
considered
were
the
rock and
last
rollers.
rock and rollers?
No. As far as like before the era of grunge, they were.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah,
They came out in like what, 88, 89, and then boom, Nirvana comes on the scene like 2 years later. And when they did, all those hair bands went away. You didn't hear Poison very much at all anymore. Their career was pretty much over.
Well, didn't
as
Punk
far
go
as
away
like
too at the same time?
Punk?
Punk?
No, Punk was over. Punk was dead in the 80s, like very early 80s.
What stopped them?
It just didn't take off. It was underground. It went more underground.
Well, because there's bands out there now that they consider punk, though.
Yeah.
Isn't even Green Day considered punk?
Not to a punker.
Probably their original stuff.
Punker.
To the original stuff, yes.
Nope. A lot of people don't consider them posers.
I mean, I don't like Green Day, but I just thought I didn't realize. I thought they were considered legit punk.
That doesn't mean they are. It just means people consider them that. Blink 182 got close to punk again, but even they were more of a pseudo punk.
Well, that's why I even think the new metal kind of has punk in it. Like Linkin Park is kind of punkish, and
new metal had like a lot of mixing.
Limp Bizkit is kind of punk.
It's really interesting when you mark, but after 2000, I can't tell you what happened with music. Who's the big so watered down? I went underground at that point.
Who? So when you look at the 2000s, who are the big moneymakers? Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber was huge.
Bieber, not Beaver.
That's debatable. Okay. I know how his name's spelled, but
yeah.
Who are we missing? There's got to be.
Well, so Jack White was a big one. So you had the White Stripes come out. You had Black Keys.
Black Eyed Peas. Black
Eyed Peas were big. There's a movement, but to me, it's still there's a difference in music now. I don't. What do you consider?
What do you consider 21 Pilots? Because they're huge.
They have their own style. I wouldn't know what to call them. They're kind of like pop, but they're kind of like something else too. They're very electronic and techno.
I just listened to their new album, which is really good. Yeah, it's really good.
They have some neat things. They don't click for me all the time, but sometimes
because you're old.
No. I actually like a few of their things, but not everything.
Do you like Veta Grand Fleet? No, Veta
Van Fleet.
There we go.
No, that vocalist, when he screams, his tone is not good for me.
He's great. I think his voice is great.
He even he'll hit on that sharp pitch just a little bit, and it'll actually it lets me know that he's not quite on pitch sometimes, but they let him do it because he's got such power. And so they're trying to reach that Led Zeppelin thing. And I'm like, I'd rather hear Led Zeppelin, to be honest. Now, they've had a couple songs that I like, but I don't want to listen to them all the time.
Well, that's like, what's his name, which I really like him. He's basically Michael Jackson. Rather listen to Michael Jackson, but I still like him.
Oh, yeah. The Weeknd.
Yeah, I really like. He's got some really good songs.
He's got some great songs. He's a good pop artist, definitely.
But again, you could be like, "Oh, he's Michael Jackson." I mean,
partially in tone, but dude, his music don't sound like Michael Jackson. I don't think he tries to mimic Michael in the music that he puts out.
That's a good question. I'd have to think about it. He sounds like Michael Jackson.
He sounds like
Michael Jackson. Yeah. Oh, I think that's what he was going for, honestly. He probably loved him growing up.
Sure. But I don't think he does it in a way. It's like Lady Gaga. You could say she sounds like Madonna a lot and a lot of things that she
one song did sound like a ripoff.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you something. She's the real deal. Yeah. Like, I've seen her do some things that blew the doors off of me. Like, I saw her sing on Howard Stern. It was just her and a piano. And I'm going to tell you, it was one of the best performances I've ever seen. It blew me away. And I was like, man, I was going to write her off as some stupid pop artist that I just didn't care for, because she's wearing meat on her face and all this weird crap she's doing. But then she comes out with that, and I was like, okay.
I never see that.
I'm going to pay attention to her.
Did you see the with Bradley Cooper? I haven't seen it. I keep
it's great. And there's a guy on there that wrote music for that, for A Star Is Born. And he's a country bluesy singer. She sings on backups for him. And my band just discovered it this week, and they showed it to me and sent it to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Once again, she's blowing me away with these background vocals that she's doing. And
so would you say that 2000s is just a mishmash? There's not one, because you got Michael Bublé. What is he? Classical? You hate Michael Bublé?
I don't love him. I mean, he's a Frank Sinatra wannabe, and he don't do it as good. Plus, the crooning is a little. It's so weird. It's not even a style that's like normal right now. Like I could see back then that it was a thing, but whenever you're up like this and do it, everybody's like, what? If you're into Broadway, once again, I think you would probably like that. But it's so out of.
His voice is good for Christmas.
But there's better people for Christmas.
Man, you're such a hater. Such a hater.
There's just better out there.
There's different.
We're down to 8 minutes, and we need to duke it out.
About how bad Megadeth is?
No, I'm going to win this fight.
I watched a YouTube video of the opposite of the greatest people ever, and like Megadeth was on top the whole time.
You wish.
It was Megadeth.
No
then
way.
Ricky Martin was number 2.
Oh my gosh.
3 was the Macarena guys. 4 was the Gundam guy.
Okay, so you want to?
You're going to have to tell the audience who Megadeth is, because no one knows.
Oh, right. So just so everybody knows in the audience, Kevin is a mega Metallica fan.
Yeah, they're not my favorite, but they're
behind. He can't see anything but Metallica. James Hetfield.
No, that's not true. Alice in Chains
shines. James Hetfield's on a little star swinging over his bed at night.
No, it's not. Alice in Chains is my thing. But yeah, Metallica. I
don't know. You talk more Metallica than you ever talk Alice in Chains to me.
Because you don't attack Alice in Chains, you attack Metallica.
Because I like Alice in Chains.
Because you're like, Lars hurt my buddy from Megadeth.
Okay, first off,
he got kicked out of Metallica. They've been terrible ever since.
But they're hypocritical when James is an alcoholic too, and they don't kick him out of the band.
2 years ago, before COVID, he was supposed to be at that Rock in the Range, and they canceled because he had to put himself back in. But then COVID hit, and it didn't happen at all. So yeah. Oh, he's had a lifelong struggle.
So, Dave,
and it was hard to watch that video you showed me of him, Mustaine talking to Lars. That's tough to watch.
Look how real that was. And Mustaine, they put Mustaine through hell, and he had to overcome. So to me, Dave Mustaine was in 2 of the big 4. 2. That means Metallica and Megadeth. He was also the godfather of thrash. Scotty Ian from Anthrax even calls him that. Dave Mustaine is responsible for writing on 3 of the Metallica albums: Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets.
I watched a YouTube video. I watched a YouTube video of all these people ripping off Metallica songs. So I don't know what you're talking about.
They do rip them off. I mean, you're right, because they are super popular, but popularity don't mean better. So you can be popular. Look what's popular right now. And there's a lot of pop music that's popular. I don't know how, but it is.
I still like Taylor Swift. I don't like her, but she's good. Billie Eilish, I think, is amazing. I really do think
Taylor Swift. I think Taylor Swift has some really well-written songs, even though they make fun of her of why she's writing them or whatever.
It's always about boyfriends.
But she was a teenager, man. I mean, what is she going to write about? I think she wrote
like
about
30 now, though, right?
But she don't write about that anymore. She writes about different stuff.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's just like Justin Bieber. It's like, he wrote interesting songs for his age, and they were well done. They were better then than they are now. you know.
So we're gonna go over because it's just gonna happen.
We're gonna go over.
Justin Timberlake's in the 2000s. He's magnificent.
Yeah, I'll give you that. He's
NSYNC's terrible, but he's magnificent.
Hold on. He's one of my guilty pleasures. Like, I'll listen to him. No, really, like I can't stand it. I almost have a man crush on Justin Timberlake. It's terrible. It's terrible, dude. He's so good.
This is on video. What are you doing? I'm gonna have this forever.
I don't care. Listen, he's that good though. I actually think he's Michael Jackson level of talent. I actually believe it. I believe he is.
I agree.
And you don't come by many people like that, and I don't name that for anybody. So he's one of the few artists that I will say that about.
He's a good singer, performer, actor, and comedian. He's
definitely.
I don't know why he doesn't do more stuff. I guess because he doesn't have to. But he could be in movies all the time,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could understand that.
And he got Jessica Biel. That's number 5. That's the category itself.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I mean, the thing that I like about him, his voice is phenomenal for me. I love to sing his stuff.
Because of your man crush. I have Metallica.
I don't know what it is.
You got Justin Timberlake on your ceiling.
I like his musical choices. I like everything he does. I don't like every single song, I think, but for the most part, I like a lot. So,
is anyone putting anything in the chat about Justin Timberlake?
Nobody's putting anything in the chat because you ran them off anyway. Because they don't want to hear about Metallica.
You
like,
brought up.
You're not
I didn't bring up Metallica.
Anyway.
Yeah. People are like, "Who is Megadeth? Is that a new thing that I didn't know about yet?
So,
are they the new 21 Pilots? Is this something I need to know?"
So I haven't heard any positives from Metallica from you. I've only heard you putting down Megadeth. So what do you have pro Metallica that is going to win this battle?
Well, they cured HIV.
You've done no research, obviously.
No, a lot of stuff's going to be opinion, but I mean, in fact, modern, still alive, are easily one of the greatest rock bands out there. Who are you going to put up? Still alive.
What's that mean? It's a song
that they're here. You can watch them play.
You mean they're still around?
You can watch the Rolling Stones, but I'm not going to say Metallica's better than Led Zeppelin, but they're not far. They've had an impact on the music industry.
Oh yeah, they've had
a huge impact.
Yeah, they've had an impact. I won't take that away.
People to like music. Metallica is a lot of people's first band.
Yeah, I give you all that. I just think it's.
They have movies, for me, and their orchestra stuff with is it the San Francisco Orchestra? I think it's San Francisco. It's great to me. That's one of the best things ever. Them live doing that, pure heaven.
But one thing that for Metallica for me is they're very
they hurt your best friend.
To me, they're very they're one off. They have a one trick pony to me. They don't deviate very far from their parameter.
What are you talking about? Saint Anger is nothing like anything else they ever did.
You sure about that?
I guess it's going more to their thrash, but it's a little harder than when they did thrash. But you can't say that.
Thrash?
That album's pretty
harder than Kill 'Em All? Harder
Have you listened? Did you listen to the whole album? Some of those songs are unlistenable too. It just sounds like
I think Injustice for All is unlistenable to me.
But they have songs that you could put in the 100 best rock songs of all time. One.
No, I don't think one would fit there. No way.
One's a classic. It's Enter Sandman.
No, not as something that's listenable.
Unforgiven.
Enter Sandman, I'll give you. Enter Sandman.
Unforgiven. Whom the Bell Tolls. Memory Man. Well, I really like Memory Man.
And then you look at the plagiarism video, and then you realize that For Whom the Bell Tolls was ripped off.
That hurt.
Oh, so good, Metallica.
Well, the worst was
Anyway.
Seek and Destroy because it was the chorus and whatever it's called. That's not the chorus. Like the whole song.
You know, to me, Dave Mustaine he's an original. There's nobody like him.
Here's you got me so upset. I can't think of their biggest song. What's their
who?
Not Metallica's biggest song is
Unforgiven, man.
No, Unforgiven's not their biggest. No, it's not the Memory Remains. What is that called? It's the title of one of their albums.
Nothing Else Matters.
No, that's not as big as my mind is going.
What? It's not as big. Nothing Else Matters wasn't very big.
No, it was, but it's not their big. What's the album with the crosses on it? The white crosses. What's the title of that album? See?
White Crosses?
Yeah. Damn, Derek.
If it's after 2000, I don't give a shit.
No, it's after like Injustice for All.
That's the Black Album.
No.
After Injustice for All is the Black Album.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I don't know why you go and compete with me on this. I don't know why. We've already lost our chat. That's for darn sure.
Well, Master of Puppets. That's their biggest song. That's a huge song.
No.
Man.
No, it's not. That's not their biggest.
You think Unforgiven's bigger than that?
Oh yeah, or
I think Enter Sandman's their biggest.
Enter Sandman's got.
I think one's their best. I think that's
no. For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yeah, I do like that.
That's way better.
Nothing else matters.
They got way better stuff than that. So, you know, for me, like if I'm going to argue the band for band, the members of the band.
Wins.
So I look at the musicianship of the band, and I look at Dave Mustaine can really sing. I've listened to him. Now, you're going to make fun of this, but it blew my mind. I sent you the link today because I was like, they actually did the cover of Go Go Power Rangers for the 90s movie that came out. It was like I think they took the TV show and made a movie of it. So it wasn't like a theater movie, but it was like a movie, you know?
No, it was in the theater.
Was it? But it wasn't nothing produced like what you would see today. It was.
No, they put money into it. That's why everyone. They made fun of Apocalypse looking like the bad guy in it.
Yes. Oh, that's
purple,
right.
Yeah, purple guy. Yeah, Ivan. Yeah, exactly.
So okay, well, Megadeth did the theme song, recreated it, did a cover of the original Go Go Power Rangers, and he actually sang it. The sound he did it for the movie and for the soundtrack. And he sings it clean. He don't sing it like Dave. You know what I mean? He sings it clean. I hate that. And holy crap, he sings. And
I would like them if he didn't do that stupid voice.
I want you to listen to that because it's actually well done.
The Power Rangers song?
I think you would actually go, okay, the musicianship's really good. I mean, it's a dumb song, let's be honest. But that's not the point.
Power Rangers. Like
that's not the point, is it? But there's verses to it too that you don't think of. That's not on the TV show because they never let the verses come out on the TV show.
So can I hit you with a right hook on Metallica? That's like that, but better?
Ain't going to be better.
Yeah, it is.
Can't be.
What song they start off with every concert?
Oh, I don't even care. What is it?
It's from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I don't think it's not. I don't know. I don't know what it's called, but that's a great. That's better than Go Go Power Rangers. Come on.
Okay, but listen.
The Good, Bad, the Ugly.
If I took all four members of Megadeth.
There's Dave Mustaine.
Dave Mustaine.
And nobody else knows the rest of them.
Dave
Three guys.
Now hold on. Now MTV used Peace Sells Who's Buying the bass line. So everybody talks about Cliff Burton being this great bass player, but none of his bass lines are remembered. Like, unless you're a hardcore Metallica fan, nobody cares about his bass lines. But MTV actually used Dave Ellefson's bass line. Do 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 do. They used it in their station break all through the 80s. Or at least maybe late 80s to early 90s, what it might have been, actually.
I don't remember them having a break.
They did. They used it on their show because it's a great bass line. That's why. Also, Nick Menza blows Lars Ulrich out of the water drumming. The dude is phenomenal. Lars phones it in. He don't give a shit about his drum parts. Listen to what he started to do on Fuel and Refuel. That's all he's doing the whole song every time. Doesn't play anything else to it. He just phones in the drum part. In fact, I watched a video of him messing up, and the whole band turns around and looks at him live like, what the hell did you just do? And he just keeps playing and acting like he didn't do anything. But the band's like, holy shit, you just messed up everything, and now we have to reset. Like it was ridiculous. Lars is pain in my ass.
He's not a good person.
I used to love him. At the time one came out, when the double bass part in one came out, I used to love it. That's all. That was it for him. He stopped after that. He gave up.
This is what happened. Is Metallica picked on your best friend, and now you can't give them anything because they hurt your little buddy.
No, because Mustaine rose from the ashes and started a new band. Number 2 of the Big Four. He was in the top. Not only was he in the Big Four, he was in the top 2 of the Big Four. Top 2. You're not talking like 1 and 4. You're talking like 1 and 2 of the Big Four.
Yeah, but it's not 1 and 2. It's 1 and 2.
No,
like Metallica's
Definitely not.
Megadeth don't even headline their own concerts.
Yeah, they do.
Who's ever before them goes at the end because everyone's like, who's this Megadeth people?
That's such a dumb thing you just said. But anyway.
But it's believable.
So, do we even have anybody in the chat left? Because
I can't see the chat. You lord over the chat.
I think people left because they got so bored with our discussion because you had to take it over with Metallica.
You brought that up, not me.
They're so terrible. Anyway.
I wanted to talk about Justin Bieber.
Beaver? Wow. Mm-hmm. Anyway, also negative point for Metallica doing the what song did they do? They did a cover song that was just terrible. And he puts on terrible twangy voice when he does it.
A cover song?
Yep. It was like,
is it the Irish drinking song?
No, they actually do a good job of Whiskey in the Jar.
Yeah.
It's
Whiskey and the Jarrow.
Okay, stick with me, man. Gee.
I was doing my Megadeth impression.
What's his name? They do a cover, and it's...
I can't think of them doing any covers.
It's a really good song, and they totally jack it up because he gets all over twangy and gets weird, and it ruins the whole mood of it.
What album is it on?
I don't know.
Hey, Kid Rock. Kid Rock, one of his biggest songs, the whole music is Metallica's.
Oh, yeah?
Is it Seek and Destroy that he has?
I don't know.
The American Badass. I am American Badass. And it's...
Maybe.
Yeah. And that went number 1 because Metallica's number 1.
They do a Bob Seger song, Turn the Page. Metallica does Turn the Page.
When they do it? When did they do it? What album is that on?
Probably like 2011, 2012, somewhere in there.
You think they just did it as a single and put it out there?
It was a single, but with the way that Hetfield sings it, it just, oh my gosh, it grates me so bad. Because I'd rather hear the original Bob Seger if I'm going to listen to that song, because they don't do anything.
That's how you're with everything.
No, not true.
I hate covers because it's the original.
No, that's not true. I don't.
We're at 110. We probably should end it.
Well, let's see what the chat has to say. Is there anybody left? If you're in the chat, please choose who won the Duke It Out battle between Kevin and I, Megadeth versus Metallica. And don't do it just because you like Megadeth or Metallica. Do it because one of us argued better. And I know who won. So even if you're not there, we know who the winner is tonight. Definitely not Kevin.
Is there
He's not
anyone
even
still in the
responding?
chat?
I expected you to respond.
So my dad was the last thing at 8. Someone just did it at 9:10.
Yeah, I see what you did. Derek sucks,
What
Murph
is-
all the way. I see what you did there.
Okay, so we have a winner.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah? Derek sucks, Murph all the way. Okay. So we know who K. Murphy Ballad Celestials is.
Murphy's a very popular name.
Oh, I'll see you later in the chats. I'll see you later in the live chats. We're gonna duke it out on there too. Believe me.
Can you get into the chat or no?
Not yeah, I'm seeing the chat the whole time. That's why they're coming up on the video. Anyway, because Kevin cheated, he won. But that's the only reason he won.
Just
I know who
like
the real winner is.
Metallica.
When God stands up and looks at me at the end of our life, he'll go, Derek, I know you won. It doesn't matter. Kevin, he's a total cheater and a liar.
And then you're going to go strutting, laughing, and then they're going to go, you're in hell.
Oh, man. I don't think so. No. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining in. I hope you had a good time. I hope we had a good discussion. We can
And
talk
thank you
music
for people
anytime.
who are watching this not live.
Yeah, if you jump into the chat and want to contribute during our music talks, we would love to have you. Kaylin did a great job jumping in tonight, and so did Joseph Murphy. So if we could have more of that going on, please tell your friends, tell them to like the video and subscribe. We'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you, everybody.